but I just am not going to feel bad about using limited edition. I finally messed up on it. Every time I was like, I did really good. Hello, Champagne Dreamers. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Miss J, and I am excited to be doing another tag video. This is the Beauty Consumer tag, and this was created by 90sLoveChild here on YouTube. I will make sure that I include her channel down in the description box so you can check her out. She's got a bunch of fun makeup, consumerism videos. She does lots of anti-hauls and things like that, so she's got a pretty fun channel. And if you love color, and if you love people who do fun, crazy, colorful wigs and sometimes coordinate their makeup looks to their wigs, and look absolutely fantastic doing it, you will love her channel, so definitely check her out. So this is a tag that's all about consumerism. How much do you spend on makeup? What do you spend it on? All that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, if you want to know more about how I spend my money, then stick around. We're getting into it right now. Question number one is, how much do you spend on makeup per month and per year? Jesus, take the wheel. I don't even know. I don't track it like that. I don't know how much I spend a month. What I can tell you is that I am Rouge at Sephora, I am Diamond at Ulta, and I have already requalified for next year in both of those programs. So certainly in quarantine, it has been a lot. I've been buying a lot of makeup. I qualified for Rouge a lot earlier this year than I did last year. Last year it took me until I think September or October to actually hit Rouge. I had kind of slowed down my Sephora spending. Same thing with Ulta, but this year with the quarantine and just the world being on fire, I have been buying a lot of makeup. And in fact, if I can make a little confession, I actually can't remember a month in recent history where I haven't placed an order for some type of makeup. And it's usually multiple orders. So I usually have a running list to make sure that I don't forget about something. I keep a list and I cross them off as they come in, and I've had to keep updating that list and having new lists. I think right now I only have 3 packages that are on the way, and that's kind of a low for me. So it's a lot. Question number 2 is, do you ever feel guilty about how much you spend on makeup? No. I am a grown-ass adult, my bills are paid, so I am not going to feel bad if that's what I choose to spend my money on. I just am not. Some people go out drinking every weekend and run up a $60 bar tab. I would rather buy a new palette. Some people love to go camping. Some people love to do different kinds of art. Maybe they buy lots of painting supplies, or they buy lots of clay or shit like that. This is just my art. It's my craft. It's kind of my side hustle when I do shows and photo shoots and things like that. It's just something that I enjoy. It's something that I love, and it's what I choose to spend my disposable income on. Now, I will say that sometimes I regret money that I've spent on specific purchases, because I'll get something and it turns out to not be very good, or it's not what I thought it was going to be, or it's just kind of a bum product. I will occasionally return products, but I don't return many products. Number one, because it's a hassle, especially if you order online. Even from like Ulta and Sephora, I don't return a lot of stuff. For indie brands, it's expensive to them, so if something breaks, I will ask them for a replacement. But if something is just not very good, I don't usually return it, because I know they're always on that grind too. They've got to hustle. Because of the hassle, and also just because I order a lot of products to review on my website, JanessaJ.com. And I just feel like it's my responsibility as a reviewer, even though I'm also a consumer, even though I am also spending my own money. I, at this point, have gotten, back with my first version of my website, I did get some free product from Lit Cosmetics. They are like the only company that has ever sent me free product to review and give away. But I am buying products, so I am a consumer, but I'm also buying it to review on my website. So sometimes I buy things knowing that they may not 100% work for me. And so I have never been one of those people that just says, well, then I can return it if I don't like it. Because all that does is drive up prices. It causes people to be more restrictive with their return program. And I want return programs to be there for people who legitimately need them, who order something, they really think it's going to work, maybe they're on a limited budget and they need to return it. If I'm just ordering shit because I want to review a collection, and maybe for my personal use I would have ordered 2 shades, but I ordered 5 shades, I'm not going to return those other 3 because I just don't feel like that's fair. So sometimes I do have some regret about products that I've purchased and the money that I spent, but I don't have overall guilt about how much I spend on makeup as a whole. Question number 3 is, do you ever get makeup FOMO? Not really. I don't. Partially because if I want something, I just fucking buy it. But I also just don't get FOMO very often. I have not been one of those people who gets, like, talked into, you have to buy this, you have to buy it, even if it's limited edition or whatever. I'm pretty good about looking at a product and deciding whether I like it or not. Now, the one that got away, and this is my own damn fault, is the Kat Von D, which is now KVD, Vegan Beauty, Kindness, Friendship, Unicorns, and Doing Good in Our Community, and fuck all, whatever it is. The Mi Vida Loca palette. I am so glad that I've stopped seeing that in videos, because there was a time where everybody had that in their makeup collection, everybody had that in their favorites videos, and that one, it's my own fault, because I looked at that palette in stores 100 times. There were several trips where I was in Seattle where I went to the Westlake Union area where they have the big Seattle Sephora store, and I looked at it and swatched it and played with it. I could have bought it. They had it in stock. My Grand Forks Sephora inside JCPenney had it in stock for a long time. I know a lot of places sold out, but like Grand Forks had it for a while, and Fargo had it for a while, and I just never bought it. And then all of a sudden I started regretting it. And even that I've kind of come to terms with, because I've realized that I have so many rainbow palettes. And I do like her formula in general, but now as the years have gone on, I've just found other companies that have rainbow palettes that the formula I like so much better. So that was kind of the one that got away. I did feel really hard FOMO about that for a while, but I'm over it. Question number 4 is, do you ever purchase items or keep items just because they are limited edition? No, I don't buy products just because they're limited edition. That does not really influence my decision whether or not to buy something. If I like it, I'll buy it. If I don't like it, now sometimes limited edition has pushed me to make that decision a little faster, because if it's a company where they've said, you know, there's going to be limited stock on this, we don't know if we're going to be able to do a restock, that will sometimes happen with indie brands, because they will sometimes have limited stock or it takes them a long time to produce. So sometimes I'll jump on something maybe a little faster than I would have normally, but I never do it just because it's limited edition. Now, I also, on the flip side of that, I'm not afraid to buy things because they are limited edition. Some people are nervous about buying collections or products that are limited edition, especially being on YouTube, because they feel like once that limited edition item is sold out, they're not able to use it on their channel, they're not able to show it off any longer because their audience gets mad. And I'm like, well, be mad about it. I mean, I think that if we're going to say that we don't want beauty gurus to be wasteful, and if we don't want people to be contributing to garbage, we can't on the one hand tell them, oh, we want you to buy all this stuff to review it, but then if it's discontinued or it's limited edition, you can't use it on your channel anymore. Because all that does is cause them to have to buy more and more and more products. Because they bought that product to review it because everybody wanted the review, and then people are saying, but now you can't show it off because I'll be mad that you showed off something that I can't buy anymore. You don't need to have the exact products that I have to recreate a look. I mean, I don't know who's recreating this hashtag Hooker Clown look anyway, but if you wanted to, there is a Face Friday post on my website, JanessaJ.com, where you can see how I created this look. And I like to do those posts and show it off, but you don't need those exact palettes to recreate this. You can shop your own stash and find similar shades and create or alter this look yourself. So I have no problem. I'm never going to apologize for it. I want to get use out of my collection. So if I buy something that's limited edition, or even if it wasn't limited edition, but it just got discontinued, I'm still going to use it. And I'm going to use it up and I'm going to get the use out of it. I already buy too much makeup where some of it is probably going to end up going to waste. I'm sorry, Mother Earth. I'm just not going to feel bad about using limited edition products. I just am not. Because I want to get the use out of them. I don't want to waste them and just declutter them. Question number 5 is, would you be willing to pay more money for a sold-out product online? I have in the past, absolutely. I used to go on eBay and I would buy sold-out MAC pigments, and there was like a booming business for a while of people who would buy up the MAC collections when they would first come out. They would sell out right away. And so MAC pigments used to come in these fairly big jars, and people would buy them up and they would sell them off little eighth of a teaspoon or whatever it was in little sample sizes. And that was big business. And I used to do that. I used to buy sometimes whole jars, sometimes the little sample size jars. I would try to find people who had bought the whole jar and buy that. I would buy limited edition lip gloss, all that kind of stuff on eBay. I used to do that all the time. Now, however, ever since I watched that Netflix documentary Broken, no, I will not do it. I have one thing that I've purchased on eBay more recently, and I've thought about replacing it because I just am icked out. It was a lipstick from a brand that's normally $18. I bought it for $40. Now, because it was $40, there was part of me that thought, well, it must be authentic, right? Like, they must have the real thing, and they're just jacking up the price. It's not like the knockoff stuff where, yeah, Kylie lip kit, if they're normally $29 and you found it for $7, that should clue you in that that's probably a gross knockoff. But this one I paid more, but even that documentary, they said even sometimes the expensive ones. So that particular lipstick that I have, I don't use anymore. I've thought about replacing it or just throwing it out, but it just weirds me out too much ever since I saw that documentary. It's a little mini limited series on Netflix called Broken, and one of the episodes, I think it's the first episode, is about makeup, and they talk a lot about the knockoffs, and it will change your life. It will just, you'll maybe never sleep again. So no, I wouldn't anymore. Question number 6 is, do you wish that you could spend more or less on makeup? Not really. I feel comfortable with how much I spend on makeup. I do realize that I probably spend more than I need to, that sometimes I could put that money towards other things. But again, it's my vice, it's my creative outlet, it's things that I enjoy. I love playing with the products. Yes, in terms of the more, I think sometimes it would be nice to just have unlimited funds so that if you wanted to buy something right in that moment, you could just buy anything that you see that kind of piques your interest. But there is something about having to keep to some sort of budget. Now, some people think my budget is out of control, but I do sort of keep myself onto a budget. Before I can buy any makeup, I have to make sure that my rent is paid, my lights are on, my internet is still working, all that kind of shit. So I'm not like spending money that should be spent on bills. Beyond that, yes, sometimes it would be nice to be able to just buy everything that I see that's kind of interesting. But there is something nice about having to make choices and having to say, okay, this is how much I'm spending on makeup this month. Do I want to spend it on this thing, or do I want to spend it on this other thing? Do I want to buy one big $50 palette, or do I want to buy a bunch of little drugstore things? You know, really kind of having to make those decisions, I think has made me a better consumer and a smarter consumer. I'm probably still too much of a consumer, but I feel like I'm a better consumer. Question number 7 is, do you ever feel compelled to buy something when you see it in somebody's collection? Absolutely not. Just seeing something in somebody else's collection does not give me some sort of compulsion to have to go and buy it. Now, there are some YouTubers that have absolutely talked me into some things. Sometimes when they show it off and use it, and I actually see them applying it and the looks that they get, sometimes that will talk me into it. It's usually something I was thinking about anyway, or maybe it's something that I had kind of looked at swatches and talked myself out of, but then I see how it actually applies on their face, and I'm like, oh, that looks so much better than the swatches. So then they might talk me into it, but just seeing it in their collection, no. There's nothing about just seeing a product that's going to make me buy it, because I could just see it on the internet, or I could just see it in a store. That isn't what talks me into it. It's actually seeing it in use. Question number 8 is, do you buy more during the holidays? I have 2 answers for this. Do I buy holiday products and holiday gift sets? Generally, no. A lot of times the holiday releases aren't that interesting to me, and especially like gift sets. Occasionally something with some minis. If there's something that I've wanted to try, but maybe it's a little bit more expensive, and then they come out with a mini collection where you can get like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and it's like a lower price and you get a little tiny one, and it's something that I just wanted to try and play with, I might buy that. But otherwise, unless it's like a really colorful or like iridescent or something that's really beautiful on its own, I don't tend to buy a lot of holiday products. But do I buy more during the holidays? Absolutely. There are so many good sales during the holidays that I absolutely spend more. So it's things that I have been looking at, things that were on my list. A lot of times I will wait to buy products. If I know that they're going to be available, if it's not something that is potentially going to go out of stock, I will absolutely wait to buy from a brand until like Black Friday. If there was anything that I saw, especially in October, that I knew I could wait and it would probably still be in stock on Black Friday, I would probably wait to see if it's something that I could get on sale. I love a bargain. I'm a bargain bish. I love it. I love getting a sale. I love getting a coupon. I love getting a discount. And so absolutely, I buy more during those holiday sales. It's something that I would have bought anyway, but why buy it for full price if you can get 30% off? I mean, I don't buy things just because they're on sale, but if there's something that I can get on sale, of course I'm going to do that. And sometimes I do buy things that are on sale that I wouldn't have paid full price for. But that's just the value of the product, right? Like, a product only has the amount of value that you place on it. So if you look at something and you say, I wouldn't pay $60 for that, but then it goes half off, well, I might have bought that product at full price if the full price was $30. So why not buy it at half off? So when people say, oh, you shouldn't buy it just because it's on sale, but if it brings it below a level where you're like, okay, I do like that. I didn't like it $60 much, but I liked it $30 much. Buy it. Why not? Why not? Why not? Just spend all your money. Clearly, I'm becoming like a cheerleader of capitalism in this video. Question number 9. Have you ever hidden a makeup purchase from family or friends? No. I am a grown-ass adult. I am not married. When I was married, so I'm divorced. I'm a divorcee. And dare I say, a bit of a cougar. But when I was married, I didn't hide makeup purchases from my husband. We ran our finances very separate. He made his money, I made my money. We had agreements about what we spent together in terms of like house bills and all that kind of stuff. And then we just kind of were able to spend our own money. And if we wanted to put something towards a joint purchase, like furniture or something, we would do that, or a trip. But generally, we kind of had our own leisure money as needed. So I never really hid anything from it. He didn't really care. He was never that interested in my makeup purchases anyway. Same thing with my friends. I don't know why I would hide it from my friends. Most of my friends just don't give a shit. This is such the YouTuber story. There are so many people that I see on YouTube who are like, I don't have any friends that I can talk about makeup with. And that's kind of true. Angie and I will talk about some makeup stuff. And she's into a little bit of playing with makeup, but she's not like super into makeup and the makeup like community and all that kind of stuff. So most of my friends would not really give a shit. Like if I said, I bought this palette, and they're like, like that would never happen in my world. My friends just don't give a shit.
I like the drama.
The drama. The drama. Question number 10 is, do you have more than 10 products in your collection that you haven't used in over a month? I can't even get through that question without laughing. Obviously, yes. I am not an everyday makeup wearer. This, like, hooker clown doesn't hit the streets every single day, and I buy a lot of makeup. So obviously there are things in my collection that have not been used in over a month. Now, when I use a product, I tend to use a lot of it. So I still go through foundations fairly quickly, because now, especially when I'm painting a face a week for the Face Friday posts, I've been using more makeup, but even that, even rotating through those things, there are going to be products. I mean, I store makeup in 2 locations at this point. That's the extra AF that my life is. So obviously there are going to be things that don't get used in a month, but I do love all the things in my collection. I do declutter fairly often. I'll go through and do a declutter, and if I really think I'm not going to use something, if it's still good, I try to give it away to somebody who can, or sometimes I've had little makeup sales and things, but I like the collection that I have, and even if it doesn't get used immediately, I love to have things available to play with. Question number 11 is, if you ever felt pressured to purchase something you couldn't afford or did not need. The word pressured is kind of loaded here for me, and I think that it has to do with a lot of my sort of critique of the beauty space in general, is that I think there needs to be more accountability. And I'm going to talk more about accountability in a later question on this tag. But I never really feel pressured to buy something. Now, you can say whether advertising is pressure or whatever, like I love looking at advertisements, all this kind of stuff, but I make my own decisions. I'm the one with the checkbook, with the debit card, with the credit card. I'm the one who decides whether or not to pull the trigger. So I never feel pressured. Now, I've gotten much better about not feeling like I need to have something. Now, when it comes to makeup, there's nothing that's needed. Makeup is a luxury item. You do not need it. Now, some people say, I need it to feel comfortable. If you want to wear it to feel comfortable, that's fine. But, like, your life is not going to end if you suddenly didn't have makeup, whatever role it plays in your life. So the idea that you need to have something, that has not been a part of my worldview for a long time, because it's just not true. It's just not true. You don't need it. You don't need it to survive. There's nobody who, like, has a condition where if they don't cake on concealer every day, they're going to die. That doesn't exist. Now, I've gotten better about not buying things I couldn't afford. There have been times where I have overspent, and certainly there are times where if there's too many launches all at once, like, a bitch knows how to dollar store grocery shop, okay? And, like, all my bills are paid, but that doesn't mean I'm eating good in the neighborhood, if you know what I'm saying. So there are times where I certainly have eaten my fair share of ramen noodles and dollar store spaghetti because I wanted a whole bunch of releases all at the same time. But I've gotten better about making sure that I, am only spending the budget that I allot for that. Now, something that often comes up in relation to this question or this type of questioning are things like Afterpay. Now, do I use Afterpay? Absolutely, I have used Afterpay, and I actually kind of like it. I do think that people can get into trouble because people can forget, since they're only paying that quarter of the total price, they'll forget you still have 3 more payments. So if you're doing that every month and they start to stack up, then yes, you may end up spending more than you want. The way that I use Afterpay is my job recently shifted to only paying me once a month. So now I've had to, that's why I'm a better budgeter, because I have to be or I'll die. Because I get paid once a month. And then I have to pay bills. And for some things, it's actually made it a lot easier because sometimes my landlord, bless her heart, is terrible about remembering to cash my check in a timely manner. And so then I was always having to worry about, okay, if I get paid on this day and it's this many days before the end of the month, if I send it in, can I know that she's not going to cash it? But I don't want to send it too late because then it'll go too long and like all this kind of stuff. I just get paid at the end of the month, like the last day of the month. And then I just pay my rent and my utilities and all that kind of stuff. And I just pay it all off at the beginning of that month. And then I have whatever's left is for me to play and buy groceries and all that kind of stuff. And then I budget with what's left over. So Afterpay can be good if something comes out at the end of the month and I'm getting to the lower part of that budget. So maybe it's like a little collection. I'm going to spend like $125. And maybe I'm like, well, I don't really know that I can spend $125, but I can easily pay the first installment. And then what I do is at the beginning of the next month, when I get that next month's check, I just pay off the rest of the Afterpay. So I don't let it stretch out into those 4 payments. I just go in, and then when the next month's check comes, I just pay off the rest of it. So again, I'm never spending past that budget. It's just that sometimes I dip into that next month a little bit if something comes out at the end of the month. Now, if something comes out in the beginning of the month, I've still got budget left over. So that's kind of how I use Afterpay, is for those late in the month releases where sometimes I'm getting to the lower part of my budget and then I still want to pick something up or pick a few things up from a collection. Question number 12 is, do you purchase makeup for collector reasons? Not really. There are a couple of things that I'm weirdly completionist about. I'm not usually a completionist, but the Lime Crime Venus palettes, I don't know why, but I have to own every single one of those. Those 2 Prelude palettes that came out that weren't really Venus palettes, but they were Venus palettes. I had to have both of those, even though the color stories, there are some beautiful shades, but they weren't really my jam or whatever, but they were Venus palettes. I had to have them. I'm weirdly completionist about that. Juvia's Place. Anything that comes out from Juvia's Place, I end up buying. I love all of their palettes, but I don't really buy things for collector reasons. Now, sometimes I will keep things that are in cute packaging. I'll keep the packaging around just for display purposes, but I would never buy a product to get the package to like display somewhere. If I don't also like the product that's inside it, then I wouldn't buy it. So I would say no. There are those weird oddball things that I am kind of a completionist for, but in most cases I don't really collect makeup. I do have a big collection, and there are some pieces that I keep as a collector, but no. Since we mentioned collecting, I will show off a few of the things that I've kept just for sentimental reasons. This is the Urban Decay eyeshadow in Graffiti, which is my favorite green in the entire world. Now, this is super old. They haven't done this style of packaging for years. And there's actually no eyeshadow left. This had gotten really old. I had hit pan, and I scraped out the rest to use for Franken makeup. It was kind of a play day. But I kept this little thing because I actually worked through 2 of these. And as you can see, this is a huge pan for eyeshadow. That's a big pan right there. And so I've worked through 2 of these and hit pan. And I just love this color. It's my favorite shade of green eyeshadow, so I kept this. I also have this little fun compact. This is from when MAC did a collection with Dame Edna, who I adore, and this is a face powder. And I have one that I actually have used, And then I have one that is still pristine. So it's the powder puff is like stuck to the mirror. But you can see they've got, like it's kind of glittery and they've got an impression. And I've even got the plastic tray still in there. So this I just kind of kept as a fun little collector piece. So I have 2 lipsticks here as well. One of them, actually I think both of them I talked about in the Makeup Memories tag. I will make sure I link that up in the card so you can check that video out as well. And this is one of the oldest pieces of makeup that I still have in my collection. And this is from the MAC Playboy collection. This is the first collection they did with Playboy. I think they did a couple other pieces again after that. But this, as far as I know, is the first collection they did. And this was the beautiful bunny pink lipstick that they did. And you can kind of still see, and I'll try to zoom in on this, but there is the laser engraved bunny in the side of this lipstick. And I use this lipstick fairly often, but I've still got a bunch of it left. And it's just a beautiful pink color. And I just love this packaging. I love the Playboy bunny, and so I've kept this for a long time. And then the final piece that I have in my sort of collector makeup is, this is the bullet from the old school Urban Decay. Looked like a shotgun shell, and this is my favorite shade of lipstick ever. And I wish they would bring this back in the original formula, and it's the shade Burnout. Oh, I love it. This is so good. And you can see that I've dug down into the lipstick, and at this point, it just smells like clay. Like, this has clearly gone bad. But I love this color. It was like this pinky coral with kind of a golden shift and glitter. It's sort of like Nars's Orgasm in a lipstick with gold glitter. Like, it's beautiful. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but I'll try to take a picture and include it as well if you can't. But this I've kept for a long time because this is my favorite shade of lipstick ever, and they don't make it anymore. And question number 13 is, in your makeup journey, have you become more or less consumeristic? And I would have to say that I certainly buy more than I used to, but that's because I also make more money than I used to. As I have gotten older and have continued to work and build a career, I make more money, so I buy more makeup. I would say that if anything, I've gotten to be a smarter consumer, and I think that I've taken accountability for my choices. That's one thing that sometimes frustrates me when I'm watching videos on YouTube. And I get when it's tongue-in-cheek, and I get when it's kind of fun where they say, the YouTuber made me buy it. Or like, oh, companies that are marketing, all this kind of stuff. I get, like, companies are there to sell products. They're going to advertise those products. They're going to create ads that play with your emotions to try to get you to buy the products. That's what companies do. If you don't know that by now, then I am here to tell you. Hello. Let me please inform you that companies try to make money. They do that by selling you shit. If you don't want the shit, don't buy the shit. But they're going to make ads that try to tug at your heartstrings, that are trying to get you to give them your money. That's the truth of the world. You are accountable for the things that you spend money on. I don't know why I'm getting so hype all of a sudden. I'm just all of a sudden like Norma Ray or something for like, you need to take responsibility for your financial choices. I'm real mad about it, and I don't know why. But it's really about taking accountability. You are the one who is going to pull the trigger. You're going to use the debit card or write the check or do whatever you're going to do. You have to decide, do I really want that? And do I only want it because a YouTuber showed it off? Or do I only want it because this ad made it look really good? Or why do I want it? What place does it have in my collection? You have to make that decision, and then you have to be accountable for that decision. And sometimes you're going to fall for the hype and the marketing. I have fallen for the hype and the marketing. I have lots of products that I regret buying. Not a lot. I don't give myself a lot of room for regret, but there's some where I'm like, that could have been better. I probably fell for some of the hype. But just take accountability for your choices. There's so much about trying to blame companies for the way that they market things, or blame them for the way that they package things, or blame them for the way that they use nostalgia, when at the end of the day, you get to decide whether or not you spend your money. So just because something has a piece of nostalgia for you, you get to decide, is that nostalgia that I want in my life? So that's Mama Champagne coming out for a moment to say, just take responsibility for your choices, okay? Okay, good. Thanks. All right, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you didn't like how I got all hyped at the end, give me a thumbs down. I'll take the engagement. Engagement is engagement. That's the algorithm doesn't give a shit. They just care that you interacted. So if you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, I would love that. Hit the subscription button. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will get notifications of all future uploads. All of that is free and easy to do right below this video. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, you can always find me on my social media, which will all be linked down in the description box. Or you can check out my website for all kinds of great lifestyle and makeup, blog, fun content at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you so much. And until I see you again, bye. So this is a channel. Question number 2, which I've already forgotten. I'm guilty about how much she spent. She wrote these questions, they're too long. I was on trips to Seattle where I would go to the South Lake Union. There was a little, or was it West Lake Union? I can't remember. West Lake Union, South Lake Union. So if I buy something that's limited edition, or even if it wasn't limited edition, but it just got discontinued, I just am not going to feel bad about using limited edition. I finally messed up on it. Every time I was like, I did really good.
I can't even see your nipples on the screen.
There are no I just move them because I feel like the boobs move. Like the whole boob moves around.
Doesn't that have nippies?
Yeah, I turn them to the back.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise I have to line them up and do all that stuff, so I just turn them to the back. Okay. I did that once and I was like, never again. I don't need nipples. That's fine. Who needs nipples?
No one needs to know you're cold.
That's right. And I'm certainly not. This office would have no nipples because it is fucking hot in here. Melted nipples. Ice cream nipples.
I like them.
And question number 7 is, do you ever feel compelled to buy something when you see it in somebody else's complexion? That's not the question. And dare I say, a bit of a cougar.
It's funny how much I know about the makeup girl drama when I don't even use their products.
Yeah. I need to have something. Now, of course, with makeup, everything is... because I get paid once a month. And then I have to pay bills. And it actually... oh, God.
Hot stuff.
Hot stuff.